Hello, welcome back to KXAM Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have our Space Base segment with KXAM's space expert, Eric Henriksen. Eric, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a decent day out. I'm looking forward to lunch. I know for other people this may be like too early for lunch.
9:30 in the morning.
I come in at 6, so for me it's like 12.
Yeah.
That works out.
It's about lunchtime.
That's how food math works, right?
We all have different schedules, but
Right.
Today it looks like it's going to be a good day. We've got some clear skies outside, so if you're starting on the wrong side of the bed, just think the weather's great.
It's a lovely day out. I think it's going to rain tomorrow, so enjoy today.
Yep.
And then tomorrow, I like the rain. I'm a weirdo who actually likes the rain.
Me too.
So, if you don't like the rain, I guess tomorrow's going to be bad, but whatever.
Well, something else out there is our sun beaming on us right now. You can see it on the Estonian camera, but
No,
there's
you can't.
you
tried.
can imagine it.
Imagine the sun's up there somewhere.
But the sun is up there, and there is a sunspot spotted
Right.
on the sun that is larger than the United States.
Yes, it's a massive sunspot, huge.
Massive.
So I guess we probably start talking about what sunspots are, and then I'll tell you how we saw this new one, how big it is. So a sunspot, for those of you who don't know, is basically a magnetic differentiating thing. That's a better way of saying this. It's space weather. It's space weather on the sun. So if you look at the sun, you'll occasionally see those bright spots in this video. This is a decent one to see them. Those are where sunspots are. And when we look at the sun through a telescope, they actually appear darker. But here they appear brighter on this. They have like an infrared camera thing. I found a lot of cool video of the sun, and we have some of that for here. But that's what these are. And so it's weather. It's where the magnetic field is stronger on the sun than the other parts of the sun. And as a result, you get solar flares and coronal bursts where large chunks of the sun just coronal mass ejections is what they're called. They explode out and they release these giant arcs. You can see them on the side of this video. I'm pointing very weird for y'all. I'm looking at the video on my screen going, oh, look at the video. You can see on the edges of the video there where these big mass ejections and solar flares are occurring. And what happens is they cause space weather to impact us here on Earth. They can impact our satellites. They can cause the aurora borealis. Do we have a video of that? Did I send you a video of that?
Yes, we do have it.
If you haven't seen aurora borealis, it's really cool. So when we have these solar flares and these coronal mass ejections, when these sunspots are happening, we get this beautiful lights over the northern part and the southern part of our planet. Last year, I think it was last year, we had such strong coronal mass ejections and solar flares that these actually were visible here in Austin.
Oh yeah,
there
I
were
remember
people in
that.
Dripping who could get great views of them. I didn't get good views. It was like too dark. I just kind of missed them. But we get these it messes with our magnetic field here on Earth, and as a result, we get these cool, colorful lights in our night sky. Which, they're pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, they are. They're awesome. It's a little dark here to see it, but I've had family members who've gone to see the Northern Lights and say that it's a lot different in person than in photos. It's a lot more
Right.
vibrant in photos than when you're looking at it straight on.
I have some friends up in Chicago, and last year when there was like the really bad storms, the really bad solar storms, you could see them in Chicago like really clearly, and they were telling us about it. And yeah, same thing. It's when you see them up close, it's like really, really beautiful. And they're really cool. But it's as a result of storms on the sun. So storms of the sun give us these cool lights here on Earth. And right now the sun is completing, or has just completed, an 11-year solar cycle. And these solar cycles is like an arc of where the intensity of the sun is, like all these storms on the sun. So last year it was at its peak, and now we're starting to crest down, and it'll take 11 years to reach this point again where it's back to its peak. So we're actually going to see less solar flares, less sunspots, less coronal mass ejections, these big solar storms over the next, when we do math. Over the next 5 years, they're going to kind of drop off in intensity. We'll have a time where there's not a lot, and they'll start to pick up in intensity again. And we'll get another one of these peaks in this cycle. I actually read an article today, which I don't include in my web story today, but it's just on the knowledge. Expecting the next couple cycles to be even more intense than this last one, just based on how things are happening in the sun. There's nothing really like wild happening in the sun. The way it works is it kind of it's a self-perpetuating engine of activity happening on the sun. So that's all. Nothing crazy is happening. It's not like aliens aren't like zapping it with rays or something. It's just going through a different period of even more intense activity. But that's over the next couple cycles. Right now, the activity is decreasing, so we're going to see less solar flares, less sunspots, less coronal mass ejections, less northern lights. But the advantage of this is when we have these storms, they impact our satellites and our global communication, so we can actually lose global communication during these periods. So we're going to see this drop off and less of that over the next few years.
So this particular sunspot that was spotted was claimed to be larger than the United States.
Right.
How did they spot it, and what does it mean to be so big?
So we have a telescope. It's the largest solar telescope in the world. It's in Hawaii. I've actually been outside of it. They have this cool mountain there where they have all these telescopes and they're above the clouds. The atmosphere is really thin. We had to leave because a blizzard was on the way, which is wild to think about in Hawaii. Going, oh no, there's a blizzard on the way. But they have this big telescope. I'm going to try to pronounce it. I apologize if my pronunciation is not correct. The Daniel K. Inouye Solar Telescope, and it's based in Hawaii. And they added a new filter. It's called the Visible Tunable Filter, VTF. For short. VTF is how I've memorized it all day. So we'll call it VTF. But it's a new filter. It's the size of a small garage. It's several tons in weight. It's taken several years to build this thing, and then to install it took several months. That's how big this thing is. But it allows them with this telescope to get an up-close look at these solar flares. Now, I sent you a photo. Do you have that photo?
Yes,
up?
I do.
We're going to show this is the photo it took. Isn't that cool? So the math on this, I'm going to throw some math. I think I have it in here. So it is, for every pixel on that image is 10 kilometers in size. Yeah, that's how big this is. And so the size of that dark spot, which is a cluster, that's several sunspots.
Several dark spots,
That's 241 million square miles.
Holy
so just a tad bigger than the U.S.
That is huge.
I had it one. I wrote on my web story, several planets could fit in there, which is true. You can fit several planets. A bunch of the United States. It's very, very large. Very, very, very large.
Several
sunspot.
planets or several dwarf planets?
Several planets. Mercury. You get a bunch of Mercuries in there. That's how big it is. Isn't that huge? And so they were able to spot that from Earth using the solar telescope. And it gives us a perspective on how powerful this new telescope filter is. That's really powerful. It can spot that from the Earth through our atmosphere. It has to look through our atmosphere and then across space. And to spot that, really cool. But also shows you the detail we can see up close to these sunspots, which is pretty neat.
And Eric, is the growth or the size of these sunspots a danger to us? What does it mean?
The larger ones create more activity than the smaller ones, and they do grow. I have one that just grew. I have a number. Hold on, let me find it. There's a new one that was spotted recently, and so apparently they get a number every time they orbit, or the sun spins, right?
Yeah.
And so as it comes back into view, we give it a new number.
We like to give things numbers all the time.
We love categorization. That's the human race way of doing things. The sunspot was called 4055, and as it was orbiting the sun, as the star was turning and rotating in its orbit, it grew in size, and now actually it's turned all the way around and it's coming back, and now it's
large.
number 4079, and it's a bigger sunspot. So they do grow in size and then they decrease in size. It's just like our weather here on Earth, where we're trying to reach equilibrium. They grow. That's how weather happens on Earth. We try to reach equilibrium between hot and cold spots. The sun's doing its own little thing trying to reach equilibrium, and as a result, you get sunspots that grow and shrink, and they're weather. It's star weather. That's all a sunspot is.
Star weather, yeah. Space weather.
Space weather. It's solar weather. That's why I keep calling it. That gives us space weather, which gives us Earth weather.
Earth weather.
Yeah, so it's all weather in the end.
It's all a bunch of weather.
But
we do have some more videos and images to share that are really cool. But let's go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
Perfect.
And we're back here with the Space Base show with KXAN's Eric Henriksen, and we were talking about a sunspot spotted on the sun, larger than the United States.
Yeah, was that my headline? I was trying to remember. I had a headline at one point like that. Yeah, I did sunspot larger than United States spotted on New Image of the Sun. Yeah, I did do the double spotted, didn't I?
Sunspot spotted.
Sunspot spotted. Yeah, I don't know why I like to torture us with these headlines.
We have some cool videos that you shared with me.
Yeah, I sent you some videos. These are all, NASA has a solar observatory and they release things like this. These are different color filters they use. Each of those bright spots is a sunspot. And as you can see, those little swirly bits, that's where it's releasing like little flares and stuff. And some of these you can see some really cool giant flares on it. And I love watching this video. It's amazing that's our sun.
It looks like water.
Whoa, yeah, this is the one I like. This is, look on the left. Look at that.
Oh, I see that.
Isn't that big and active?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see some really cool things when you watch these. Yeah, it looks like water.
That one is super bright.
Yeah.
On the bottom corner.
That's the power we're looking at, you know. This is what gives us our space weather, solar weather causing space weather, causing earth weather, as I've now said, our new order of operations in our universe.
Sun weather, space weather, earth weather.
And there's one other video I sent you. What was that one? That one also had some really cool. Oh yeah, this is a different view. These are sunspots through, I think it was an infrared.
Those are kind of small.
And that's just a much different look at how they are. You said they're small. I mean, those are huge.
They look small.
Those are like the size of Earth. Each one of those. That's how big they are. That's how big the sun is. Like the sun's so big, it's hard to imagine. I have a hard time imagining how big the sun is.
How many Earths is the sun?
Oh, I have seen that number before, and it's substantial. I think we could Google it real quick. Is that proper? Is that good TV?
Fit in the He does. Well, Eric, you do have that article about this sunspot spotted on the sun here on our website, kxan.com. You can find it on the homepage. What's in here that we didn't get to talk about?
I think we touched on everything. You can get a better look at the image from the telescope there. I can get a close-up view of how large that is. They released another image. I didn't include it on this story. The link is in here. That it's just a different look. It wasn't a sunspot. It was just like the surface. It looked like boiling water, but yellow. It's kind of cool. I don't know. They got some new stuff with that telescope that I'm really excited to see over the next few months, especially as we were still close to the peak of solar activity, but as I said, it was dropping off. So we'll still get a decent view of things.
Nice. Well, that article is on our website, kxan.com, if anyone is interested in reading more or clicking on those links that are added in there. Eric, you worked on a story yesterday. It had to do with Make-A-Wish?
Make-A-Wish, yeah. So today is World Wish Day. It's the anniversary of the first wish given to a Make-A-Wish kid. And for people who don't know what Make-A-Wish is, it's a nonprofit that provides trips and I want to call them prizes, but that's not really a good term for it. But like they'll build playground equipment, they'll build clubhouses for kids,
making wishes come true.
Like fulfilling dreams, and it's for critically ill children around the world. They've done 200 locally. They're planning to do this year alone in Central and South Texas. There's still 400 kids on the waiting list. So they need funds, and we did a story yesterday looking at how are things going with the organization ahead of World Wish Day, and it turns out that the cost of fulfilling a wish, creating a dream, is almost triple what it was a couple years ago. A wish used to cost about $5,000 to fulfill, and that would include things like travel and expenses. Some examples the people with Make-A-Wish gave me were trips to see Wimbledon matches or Disney World, things like that.
Yeah,
for these
Disney
kids.
World is a popular one.
And about $5,000 before, now it's about $13,000 as a result of tariffs and economic issues. These things that are causing some traveling costs to skyrocket, but not just traveling costs, but costs for supplies for some of these groups. So they're needing funds to help out kids in our area and around the country, and you can donate at Make-A-Wish at Central and South Texas. We have a link in our story on cakesand.com. But cool thing, the learning experience in Buda, it's a preschool daycare. They raised $11,000 over the past year.
Wow.
This preschoolers, 3 and
I think
4
I
year
read
olds.
about that.
And I got to hang out with the kids yesterday. It was pretty cool,
So
and
sweet.
talk to them. I asked them what they like to donate. One 4-year-old told me she likes to donate noodles. A 3-year-old likes to donate cans and shirts. And his best friend is named Otis. And Otis is never sick, but yesterday he did take a sick day.
Aw.
So I was quite amused by that.
You know everything going on in that.
I chatted with these kids for a while. They were great. They did reading time for us, but they were learning about charity and giving and helping donations. They're learning about that in a very basic term. They don't really understand Make-A-Wish fully, but they understand like kids are sick and they need help.
Yeah.
And so these little 3 and 4-year-olds can understand that. And they're being taught this at a very early level, but they've been raising money. The school's been helping raise the money for since August, and they've raised $11,000. So they can help fulfill some wishes for kids. But check out our story at cakesand.com. It's on our main page to learn more about the Make-A-Wish and what these kids are doing. It's a really cool story. I was really happy to meet these people and to see the positive things Make-A-Wish is doing. It's a great organization.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for these kiddos to learn at such an early age.
Oh yeah, and they had like a giant mascot they danced with. It was really fun.
It's cute. Well, thanks for joining us, Eric. This was a fun little topic, something we didn't know about, something we learned, something new.
I like to say keep an eye on the sun, but you probably shouldn't do
I
that.
don't
You
think
will burn your
anybody
eyeball.
should do that.
Don't keep a glance at the sun. How about that?
Keep an eye on our website and look
there
at a
you go.
picture of the sun.
Check out cakesand.com. We'll keep you updated on everything happening with the sun.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining us, Eric.
Thank you.